One thing I guess I would say is obviously the more your schedule picks up, the more training and competitions and stuff you're involved in, the more important your recovery is going to be. So like during your normal sort of season stuff where you maybe train once a week and play once a week at the lower levels, your recovery is maybe not necessarily that big a deal because you've got a good 3 or 4 days before you really have to go out and exert yourself again. But as you get selected for more and more rep teams and you play more baseball, you play on multiple different teams and you're playing or training several days, you know, within the same week, or even more importantly when you're in a tournament situation and you're playing every day or even multiple games on consecutive days, that's when the recovery stuff is going to be most important to you. So when you're in your training and all that sort of stuff, it's really worthwhile making sure that you start practicing those recovery habits again, you know, improving your everyday practice habits. And those things that are important for you to have success, practice some of those things as well in your training to make sure that you've got your routines down pat for when you get to your tournaments and stuff like that. It's really well worthwhile doing that sort of things, and I think we've generally done a really good job of that. They do it at all the national team programs. They have a full recovery sort of process when our teams go away and all that sort of stuff, but we come back to the state team or the national tournaments, and a lot of the other states still don't apply stuff like that. Queensland have been pretty good about trying to apply that stuff over the last couple of years, and we really haven't had that many injuries, big injuries in key tournaments and stuff, because we really look after ourselves. And it really makes a big difference. I'm a big believer in it, and if I am, that means you guys will be too. So
you do the academy, and most of the time on that day you have ice baths fed every day.
Actually, they used to have the ice baths set up every day, and the guys would either go to the gym, they'd go to the gym one day, or the alternate group would go to the recovery area and they would do ice baths. So it was basically every second day. So the following day they would flip-flop. They would go to the gym or they would go to the ice baths. They don't actually use the ice baths anymore because they were using these fancy ice bath machines and all that sort of stuff. And the time of year that the academy is on, there's one pool at the Mercure over there that's not heated. The non-heated pool was actually colder than the ice baths were, you know, at that time. So now they just use the cold pool rather than the ice bath, but they have a process. So like I said, one team will go to the gym, the other team will go to the recovery centre, and they'll do a little routine each, and then the following day they flip-flop. And certainly we encourage guys to do their own stuff within the rooms. So just to finish up, we're almost out of time, but I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. How do you get the most out of your training? Well, number one, as we've talked about tonight, you need to commit time to your physical preparation. If you commit time to your physical preparation, as we talked about right at the very beginning, all of your skills in baseball, fielding, throwing, hitting, running, all of those things will improve at the same time. All right, so if you can improve those strength, speed, range of movement around joints, movement efficiency, all of that sort of stuff, it's going to have a big impact on your game. In terms of doing that, consult a qualified specialist and get regular supervision, feedback and support. So again, this is where acceleration for me are a really good plus to us. So you can sign up at a gym and go down to your local gym and get some guy who's done a TAFE course for 6 weeks to come out and be your trainer and write you a program and, for instance, give you something that he thinks is going to help you get better. But if he doesn't have a lot of experience with baseball, he's going to be designing a program based on his own experience. And baseball is a very unique sport with very unique challenges, with very unique physical requirements. This is where a group like Acceleration for me are really useful, because they have good quality strength coaches at all of their centres that can really tailor a program specific to, and this is why we use them. You know, for me to try and cater to a wide range of people, there's just only so many hours in the day, but I use Acceleration because of the programs that they do, and you can see the passion that he has for it, but the knowledge that he has about the core and all of this, movement efficiency type stuff, which I really like. It's really important to make sure that you get someone that's qualified appropriately to design your program. Not necessarily everybody has the money or the inclination to do stuff like that, but I would strongly suggest that you also consider your training environment. So not just the program that you have that you're following, but the training environment that you're getting. Again, acceleration is a great example, but there's certainly other places as well. The Queensland Academy of Sport, where I train with the Bandits, where I train with the scholarship group, it's a fantastic training environment. They've got all the latest equipment that they need. It's a good environment. All of the other people that train in there are all athletes, all competing for the same sort of stuff, all trying to improve their performance. Sometimes you would go to a local gym, and all due respect to your local gyms, but quite often you've got a lot of people there who are there for a lot of different reasons, including a lot of people who are quite often doing biceps looking at themselves in the mirror, which is not necessarily the most motivating environment for a young athlete who's trying to increase their movement efficiency. You know, you'll get a lot of trainers and stuff in there that come from a variety of different backgrounds as well. So think carefully about the training environment that you create. The training environment obviously includes the specifics of the environment, but the people that you train with. So having training partners and that sort of stuff is also a really good one for controlling your training environment. Who would be the best sort of training partners that you would have that would keep you motivated and keep you working on the right things? Yeah, other teammates, other baseball players, particularly other baseball players who are trying to get better. Right? So there's lots of baseball players that want to go out there and still want to do biceps and look at themselves in the mirror. But if you can surround yourself with people that have similar goals as yourself, this will take your training program to the next level. All right? So even if you are just training at the local gym, or even if you are just training in the local park, if you can find somebody else that has similar goals that you, and you can map out your training schedule and meet with those guys on a regular basis and try and get there, that will really help your training program rather than just training on your own, you know, in your basement or whatever it is, you know, with nobody else there. So consider your training environment. Plan out your training in advance. Has anybody not seen the weekly planners that I talked about at the induction? Obviously the scholarship group, these guys are required to submit their weekly planner to me every week, you know, outlining basically what they are planning to do every week in terms of their training, and then if they get it to me by Sunday, I'll then give them feedback about their training week. All right, why is this important? There's 5 minutes that you spend, there's one over here, that's perfect. The 5 minutes that you spend actually planning out your training week, does that make you a better baseball player? Well, in itself, no. But if you plan out your week every week and get the most out of every training week because you spent 5 minutes to plan it, then indirectly in the long term, most definitely yes, that is going to make you a better baseball player. All right, so if you get the most out of every week because you spend just 5 minutes to plan out your week, that's really going to help you. So take the time, spend the 5 minutes a week, plan out your weekly training so you know where you have to be and when, so that you achieve all of the things that you want to achieve in your given training week. Make sure you monitor how you feel and implement those recovery strategies that Jono talked about. That's really important as well. You know, reading your body. If you've got soreness or stiffness, don't just rest and do nothing. Take action about it. Stretch, self-massage, ice if you need to. All of these things will really help you. Get to know these routines, get to know the processes, and start applying them. Look after yourself physically. Oh, hang on, a bit quick. Look after yourself physically, eat good food, and get your rest. So again, it's all part of that recovery process, understanding those things. So last slide, in terms of what you guys as QBBA athletes and what you have access to, as we talked about. Well, number one, acceleration, and I'm going to continue to plug them because they do a good job. They have fantastic resources. They have a good training environment with very well qualified instructors at their centres, and I trust them completely that if I can't be there to monitor your training program, these are very close to the next best thing. They're excellent at what they do. So, as I said before, not everyone can necessarily afford to go and pay money for that sort of stuff. It is expensive, I get that. Alternatively, you've got Dan Nilsson, who's here tonight, who works for Acceleration, who works for, he works with our Bandits athletes, he works with our scholarship group athletes. He's been around our program for a long time. He knows what I want intimately, and he's an excellent resource that you guys can now use to give you guys more information about your physical preparation. So he's offered up his services to you guys. So you chuck him an email, send him your weekly planner, something like that. He'll give you feedback about how you've got your training set up for the week. If you've got specific questions in regards to your actual exercises within your training program, or how you should structure the given session, or what sprint exercises you should be doing in combination with your strength work, all of these sorts of things. Or you've got a bit of stiffness somewhere, what's some good stretches that you can do to address some of the things. He's a really good guy that you can go to. He also has access to our Accelaware database. He can write you a training program, email it to you, which all of those little video files that Stu was showing you tonight are all in that Accelaware software. So he can write you a program, and even if he can't be there with you to show you the exercise, there's a little video, of that to teach you that exercise. So another good option, a really good resource that's really going to help you guys. Certainly you can sign up at a local gym. There's lots of good gyms out there. They have lots of good equipment that might be more beneficial to you than just training at home on your own. Some of the potential issues in regards to the local gyms, again, it's obviously sometimes questionable, some of the sort of coaching and instruction you'll get there, depending on the sort of background that the particular instructors come from. They might be bodybuilding, they might be martial arts, they might be any number of different things that are quite often very different to baseball, and they'll all bring their own experiences to the programs that they design for you. So depending on their level of understanding, they might not necessarily have a fantastic understanding of baseball, but even if you, for instance, get a program from Dan but go to your local gym and do that program there, that might be a good way to go. And then you communicate with Dan via email and do it that way. Again, not everybody necessarily has the money to sign up for a local gym. We have a whole variety, and I was going to go through a couple of them here, but we're out of time. The prehab routine, leg circuits, the 7 streams approach that we talked about on the board tonight. So picking one exercise from each of those different movement streams based on the equipment that you have available to you. And you can do that stuff at home with very minimal equipment. Again, a lot of the exercises we talked about tonight were body weight exercises that you could potentially just do at home, paying no money. Just the only thing that you pay for in that sense is the effort that you put into that exercise. All right? So pre-prepared programs, or a specifically designed program from Dan or somebody else, the leg circuit. Also, there's another resource, and I'll email this to you. It's basically that 7 streams movement approach. The ABF have, it's a few years old now. It's a basic introduction to resistance training, and it's got basically 4 stages or 4 progressions of exercises that are basically just body weight and TheraBand exercises. So if any of you guys have got a TheraBand, you can do every exercise that there is in that program. It's not a bad little resource. I will email that to you as well. So have a look at that. Lots of pictures. We've got some of our Queensland guys in those pictures. Some of our best athletes like Bo Roeda and Tyler Chappell and all that stuff. So have a bit of a look at that. It's pretty funny. But it is a good resource. And again, these are sorts of things that you can do at home on your own. So ultimately what the idea of tonight was about was to try and give you guys a bit more details about the sorts of things that you guys can do to help develop, take some ownership of your own development, and give you hopefully enough skills that even if you can't get to acceleration, even if you can't get to a local gym, even if you can't pay a lot of money for expensive services, that you have some basic skills that you can go away from here tonight and train 2 to 3 times a week doing the sort of exercises that are actually going to help your baseball performance rather than become a hindrance or create more issues. All right, so hopefully that's the sort of stuff that you've got out of tonight. Is there any other questions that we've got at this stage? Nope, pretty straightforward. Well, again, I want to say a great big thank you to you guys for coming out tonight. I really appreciate you guys giving up your time. I hope you guys have got something out of tonight. Jono has got a nice little handout here with a little checklist for your recovery strategies. So on your way out, make sure you get one of those. They'll be right here on the seat by the door. Stu from Acceleration has left a pile of fridge magnets. In the last page of this, obviously, there's details of how to contact all of us. Oh, buggered it up, sorry. Did bugger it up. But the last page of this is basically all of our contact details. That Cressy Performance is just another group in the US that deal with a lot of Major League Baseball players. They're probably one of the leaders in terms of the strength and conditioning services they provide specific to baseball players. That's another good source of information. I throw a lot of their stuff up on the QBA Facebook page because I really like their stuff. So if you're looking for a little extra reading and a little extra, they throw out regular newsletters and all that sort of stuff. That's another great place to go. But like I said, the Acceleration ESP website is up there. Stu's left some fridge magnets if you want to take some of those at any stage. Or all of our contact details are up there. If you have any questions, want to clarify anything that we've discussed tonight, or you've got a burning issue that you didn't want to ask tonight in front of everybody else, by all means, as part of this program, we are very much open to you guys for any questions or issues that you have.